Ellie, wake up. Your school bus is going to arrive soon,
said Ellie's mom.
Okay, Mom. I'm getting up.
Ellie replied.
I made your favorite pancakes. They're waiting for you in the kitchen.
Ellie's eyes widened with delight. As Ellie rushed to the kitchen, she found a stack of fluffy pancakes drizzled with syrup, her absolute favorite. She dug in with enthusiasm, savoring each bite.
Yummy, Mom. These are amazing.
Her mom smiled warmly.
I'm glad you like them, sweetie. Don't forget your backpack. The bus will be here soon.
Okay, Mom. I'll grab it. Good morning, Ben. How are you?
Ellie greeted her friend as she boarded the bus.
Good morning, Ellie. I'm good. How about you?
Ben replied with a smile.
I'm great, thanks.
Good morning, class.
The teacher greeted them as they settled into their seats.
Good
morning,
Mrs.
Wilson.
The class responded in unison.
This is Leo. He's a new student from Australia.
Mrs. Wilson announced.
His family just moved here.
Nice to meet you, Leo. I'm Ellie.
Ellie introduced herself warmly.
Nice to meet you too, Ellie.
Leo replied with a shy smile.
Leo, you can sit next to Ellie. She's one of the top students in our class.
Mrs. Wilson suggested.
Okay, class. Open your notebooks. I'm going to check your homework. Jenny, where's your notebook? Did you do your homework?
Wilson asked one of the students. Yes, I did, but I forgot to bring it. Jenny stammered.
Why is that?
Mrs. Wilson questioned. My baby brother spilled juice all over it. Jenny said, looking embarrassed.
This is the third time you've forgotten your homework, Jenny. You need to be more responsible.
Mrs. Wilson said sternly.
Excuse me, Mrs. Wilson. I forgot my eraser at home. Can I borrow one from someone?
Leo asked.
Yes, you can. Ellie, can you lend Leo an eraser?
Mrs. Wilson asked.
Sure, I have an extra one.
Ellie said, handing it to Leo.
Thank you, Ellie.
Leo said gratefully.
All right, class. Open your English books and pay attention.
Mrs. Wilson instructed.
In today's lesson, we'll learn about the simple past tense.
Mrs. Wilson began.
I know this tense, Mrs. Wilson.
Ellie said enthusiastically.
Very good, Ellie. I'll ask you to give an example later.
Mrs. Wilson smiled.
The simple past tense is formed by using the subject plus the second form of the verb plus the object. For example, I watched a movie.
I understand, Mrs. Wilson. For example, I ate an apple.
Ellie said.
Excellent, Ellie.
Mrs. Wilson praised.
Now, I've written some sentences. You need to change them into the simple past tense.
May I go first, Mrs. Wilson?
Ben asked eagerly.
Okay, Ben. Change I drink water into the simple past tense.
I drank water.
Ben answered confidently.
Very good, Ben.
Mrs. Wilson said.
Ellie, change the next sentence. They play football.
They played football.
Ellie answered.
Well done, Ellie. Leo, it's your turn. Change, we take an English class into the simple past tense. Mrs. Wilson instructed.
We took an English class.
Excellent, Leo.
Mrs. Wilson praised.
All right, class. See you tomorrow. Jenny, you need to come with me.
Mom, Dad, what are you doing here?
Jenny asked, surprised to see her parents at school.
Your teacher told us you didn't bring your homework again.
Jenny's dad said sternly.
And you've been making excuses.
Her mom added.
I'm so sorry. I'll do my homework regularly from now on.
Jenny promised.
You need to be more responsible, Jenny. If this happens again, there will be consequences.
Her dad warned. Yes, Dad. I'll make sure it doesn't happen again, Jenny said, feeling determined to improve.
Leo, how do you like this school?
Ellie asked as they walked out together.
I like it a lot. What's your favorite subject?
My favorite subject is science. What about you?
Ellie asked.
Mine is history, but I also like science.
That's cool. We have a lot in common. Would you like to come over to my house sometime?
Ellie invited.
I'd love to. I'll ask my parents.
Leo said happily.
You can bring your parents too. We live in Maplewood Avenue, house number 15.
Ellie said.
That's really close to my house. Let's plan for this weekend.
Sounds great. Let's go.